I feel like every episode should just start with us laughing.
And it started.
Like
Okay.
every episode starts with us just giggling.
Well, we've been sitting here trying to figure this shit out for 20 minutes. Our man over here in the undisclosed location.
This is why it's the 23rd hour, because it takes us 2 hours to record and edit it, upload it.
That does not work.
Oh my God. Something's going on over there, Mike.
Wait, actually, let me try here. Here's an idea.
I've already reset this, and
tell me he breaks out tinfoil.
Oh, maybe if I just put my headphones in the regular jack.
But Mike, talk about what you were saying earlier. Also, everybody, welcome to the 5th week of the 23rd hour. We're gonna start introducing these episodes. It's April the 21st, and this is the 5th episode of the 23rd hour.
Yes. Also, do not run away, because we're not just going to sit around and talk about the coronavirus. I'm done with that Rona bullshit, man. I can't.
Yes, we have new discussions coming for you guys, so stay tuned.
Seriously. What were you saying? What were you saying?
I was saying, talk about what you were saying with what you sent Mr. D'Amelio.
What, the Twitter thing?
Yeah.
So, little recap on the coronavirus, just very brief. There was a Twitter thing this morning where right before they do these press conferences every day with Trump, and it's like this whole show. Right before, like, they actually started the stream. Well, like, somebody started a stream. I swear they must have started it like 3 hours in advance or something. But they started talking, like, this reporter and this other dude. And the dude who the reporter was, his name's John Roberts. He is the head person of Fox. And maybe he was just talking trash. I don't know. But he walks in and he's like, says to one of the camera dudes, he's like, hey, take off that mask. Like, you don't even need that. And the dude was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, yes. And then he's like, said something like, oh, this new report came out of California today that, like, basically saying, like, so many more people got it and that the fatality rate is basically like 0.1%.
Oh,
so of course I sent it to you guys and I said that this virus is about as deadly as Vin's jiu-jitsu. Then after that I sent it to your dad and I said it was about as deadly as the tram ride from the Cancun airport to our resort.
Oh my God.
But
wait, so there's a video of that?
Just hold on one second. One other thing that the dude says is he's like, oh, so everyone's vaccinated here, right? Like, I couldn't tell if he was saying it as a joke, but he said, like, and everyone's vaccinated here, right? And then the one dude was like, so it's just a hoax? And this dude, the microphones are on. And the dude's like, no, it's not a hoax. It's just like they were making it seem like it was just like super not dangerous. And I was just like, holy cow. So I didn't actually
wait. Who was this? Who was talking? Like,
it was two reporters, and it was kind of like a hot mic like thing where I don't think that they were like live yet fully, but so many media organizations are always at the White House doing like the filming and stuff, and so some of them you know when you go on YouTube and like you'll join one of those streams, and then like sometimes it'll go on for like 45 minutes before like the president or anybody will even come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and
you guys
sound better
that, right?
or does this sound better or worse?
That sounds fine.
All right, now we're good.
Yeah. So anyways, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was just joking about it because I actually thought it was kind of funny for 1 second. I mean, nothing about the virus is
right,
can't joke too much, but
Right.
I made a couple good jokes, I thought.
It is a hoax.
I mean,
this is where the censorship kicks in.
Yeah, come on, that was way too much sense.
Yeah, I gotta watch out, man.
No, I get it.
It was. I mean, I don't even know if they talked about it in the press conference. It was just something that was said, and I was
But
like,
did you listen to the press conference?
no, I didn't listen to it afterwards. But he was citing like some sort of study that came out of California. And I actually seen multiple reports on the news today and yesterday where it seemed like they were like government officials were starting to think that it was way more widespread than they had initially thought, which if that's the case, like they think that so many people could have it at this given moment. And then of course, if way more people have it, then it's less fatal, but that doesn't mean that the impact of the virus is lessened. It just means that we could have all had it a lot quicker than we thought, and maybe it's a lot more easily spread. What is this shit? Like, why do you guys have to do that?
No,
What?
it's coming through like a little sketchy on my side. You sound like an alien for a sec.
Really? Same thing for you, Vin?
Wait,
No,
but
I'll be hon-
I thought we weren't talking about this BS.
No,
I'll
he
be honest.
said
No,
he wanted to. He said he wanted me to talk about the Twitter thing.
No, I'll be honest. I celebrated a little bit before the podcast, and I was laughing because it looks like Mike's wearing a FedEx uniform.
I just got out of the woods, and Mike, you just got off from delivering shit.
What do you mean? This is a fly jacket. Wait, what do you mean what do you mean you celebrated before this?
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything? I celebrated before this. About what?
Yeah, what are you celebrating about?
Just forget about it then.
You celebrated that you were wearing a FedEx jacket.
Yesterday we were going to be doing the podcast on 420, so
Oh,
Oh, you celebrated that it was a day delayed?
yeah.
Nice. So I suppose we should get to other shit. Time to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum, so. Did you guys watch the Blackout video?
so the reason we're moving on is because we've all agreed that Corona is probably just a lie, right? Like,
No. You
I
could
don't
not
know about
get
that fully.
It's not a
I can't
lie.
believe
It's
you guys
just no.
still
It,
are
really, what it is,
realizing
it's
that.
just everyone's being fucking drowned in it. Is what I think. I don't even.
I think that we're like, in a way, being overconsumed by it. I don't think it's fake. I think it definitely is. There's some realism to it, but I think that to the extent that we're taking it, it's starting to become like, I don't know, a bit too much.
AKA, they took the flu and used it to enforce their power. That's basically what happened. I think we could all agree on that now.
You really want to go down this road?
I'm just saying. Come on, like
We need way more time to start making all these types of analyses. I feel like at this moment I'm just not even up to speed on everything because I have stopped doing I've stopped kind of like caring so much. Not that I don't care. It's just like, fuck, dude. Like, I can't listen to this every day. I mean, do you guys just like get tired of it? I mean,
like me when I was on the phone with Mike, then we were saying it's kind of like the Russia thing with the media. It's constantly being pushed out.
It's kind of just like, even if there is like, not like even no matter how massive the issue is, like when you fucking like talk about it just 3 million times a day, it's like, I don't know. It's like, man, just fuck me. Just give me the fucking virus. Fucking send the Russians in, man. I'm ready.
Jeez.
I can't take this shit.
I know what you mean, though. It's a bit much. Like for me, I feel like I don't know. I was just driving around today, and on the radio, it's like, at least in the beginning, it was new. There was this like sense of newness to it, where it was a little bit exciting to like look into, and like nobody was really like adjusting to it yet. But now I'm sitting there driving around, and then come the commercials, and all of the commercials are just like completely tailored to this. And it's just like starting to get a little bit annoying, where it's like, these challenging times,
Yeah. It seems like everybody's doing it, even like fucking like plumbing companies. I mean, just like anything, like car dealerships, like everything, like on the radio at least. It seems like everybody's kind of tweaked their advertising. But no, it's. I think what happened is that it recently. I'll leave it at this. When it started getting like super political, like at first when it was just like all about the virus and all about like the effects of it and like what was going on, like there was a lot of like trying to figure out what was up and how much you should care for your family and everything. But then like as this has gone on, like it seems like it's starting to get really political, a lot of fights and stuff, like people are getting divided, and then I'm just like, oh man, I don't know. So
I think I agree
Yeah,
with
I mean,
that.
there were protests. There were protests in Pennsylvania today, pretty sure.
really,
So
So,
actually, let's if somebody wants to talk about that, this was the first time since I guess the start of these episodes where people have begun protesting a little bit about this whole lockdown situation.
yeah, I mean,
Mike's
why
people.
wouldn't they?
What do you
Trying
guys
to
think about
trying
the
to be out
protest?
there with them.
uh I mean, I think that it should still
Like, come
like
on.
no, I think that like I'm actually kind of happy with how the fact that it's been deferred to the states for it to go state by state, because I don't think that like we're all gonna have to have a really nuanced approach to it. I also my actual thing is with the virus is Mike thinks there's like a lot of other lies. I think that the lie is that what they're telling us is that the virus isn't really ever gonna go away, and all they've really ever done, all they're really trying to do is just buy time so that they have enough tests, that they have enough equipment. Um, and once we all go back to like work, it's not magic. It doesn't just disappear. It'll start coming back. It'll start popping back up. People will start getting sick more, but they'll be able to handle it. That's pretty much just all I think that they've done over this time frame. But who knows? Maybe they installed 5G towers that are gonna fucking burn your skin off or something. I have no clue.
I'm
Okay,
saying,
so quick. I just wanted to bring up a quick point,
God,
and I wanted to ask. It's not really a point, but it's a question. Did you happen to see that David Icke video I sent? Did you watch the full interview?
Okay, I didn't watch the full hour-long video
geez.
because I'll say this. I actually have a defense. I couldn't watch it because it was making me create something on the website that you sent me. And so I actually Googled them and kind of found like random snippets of it and stuff. Um, I don't know if this was part of that interview, but he did another one on the radio frequencies and all that stuff. Um, and like, I know you've been talking about the vibration shit and all that stuff for a long time, and it was actually pretty interesting, like the wavelength and the fact that things are just transmitted as data to your mind and stuff. And so it was like some of that was really interesting. So I was really a hater on him. I think I'll try to dive back in, but it doesn't, like
You
what you were
gotta
saying.
watch that
It seems like
interview,
it's been
man.
removed everywhere.
Yeah.
You gotta go
So
on.
And why? Why has it been removed? I don't get that.
Well, you know why. You're
that video has been
political.
removed from all major platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can only find it on his actual page, London Real.
Yeah, that's the one you sent.
Unfortunately, like you said, well, it's not unfortunate, but you have to put your email in to watch the video if that's what you're talking about.
I'm like, fuck that, man. I don't deal with this type of shit.
Why not, Mike?
I don't know, man. I'll do one character off on my email and watch it, I guess.
And I'm the conspiracy theorist.
Give me your log.
Put your damn email.
Give me your log.
Oh
I
crap!
don't know. I thought it was good shit, but honestly, I don't know enough yet to like get full into it. So maybe we should save it for like a week from now.
So the better part is that I honestly research all of this stuff, but I don't commit to any of the ideas. I could believe
That's
it's
good
real.
though.
I could believe it's this hoax. I could also believe that there's something really deep going on within the globe. Like, I think there's a lot of threats out there as well, but I think that there also is like this like transformative change that's gonna basically happen with society, and I think that there's gonna be some good out of it for a little bit. Like I don't really think that we're gonna be threatened until like 2030 when the AI kicks in.
The
I
AI.
mean, that's what I said.
I think they're waiting.
This is the beginning to a plan that will be settled in the next decade.
But personally, I think we have the golden years ahead of us. I think this next decade is going to be very prosperous and cooperative. I think we should really enjoy it while we have it.
I seen something online that actually kind of applies to what you're saying, and maybe I can find it. It's this Venn diagram, and I took a screenshot of it, and it was like said like, believe it or not, it's actually okay to be all three. And it was one ring was oh shit, you can't even see that.
Can you pull it up on a screen share?
Maybe you could just see it if I lower this. But essentially, it's showing that you're in the middle of all three of these, and the three variables is people taking COVID-19 seriously, people very concerned about impending economic devastation, and people worried about expansion of authoritarian government policies. And it was basically saying, believe it or not, it's okay to be all three. And I feel like that's kind of where I am. I'm kind of like thinking about all the variables. And like I said,
but one
just
of
online,
them is just a trap.
Is to what?
Taking it seriously. Taking it seriously, you're just falling into that's the trap, because that's the fear, you know. That's what hysteria does.
Real quick, and then you say how you feel.
All right,
I would say that that's the fear if you're right, but the problem is I don't know if you're right, and I don't know if the people that you've been following are right, and I don't think that anybody knows the whole story to this. Like, I don't think that there's anybody that knows. Dude, how is it that Alex Jones always knows this stuff, and he always says, oh, the CIA's after me, you know, that I know too much. I'm like, why is he still fucking alive then?
He's not gonna be for. He's gonna be screwed soon, dude. They're coming after him.
He says that like they can give people cancer, that they can just get you through waves, they can control your brain. Like, why have they not done this on Alex yet? Is he just impenetrable, or haven't found his multi-million-dollar facility in Austin, Texas yet?
No, because if they kill him, it's too obvious at this point.
Maybe. Actually, that's actually a good point, because remember that alien dude that we were watching? What was that dude's name? The one that we were watching last year. Remember that, Vin? I think you and your dad showed me that. The dude who was working at Area 51 that appeared on Joe's show. That was his argument. He was like, I've already squawked. I've told everybody. I'm like, I'm bigger than, like, they can't take me out now, because like it would validate what I've said. So
yeah, exactly.
Maybe that is Alex's defense, I guess.
I mean, he's literally said that. He said that if he kills himself, that he didn't kill himself. He said that many times.
I think that in the case with Alex Jones, he's on and off the tracks enough that he can at least be portrayed as crazy, to the point where they don't really care about his opinions anymore, because like people can assume what they want about him, whether it's like he's kooky, he's crazy. The people like David Icke, that's the people I feel like they're going to take down, because he's articulate, he's like human, and he kind of makes you believe things. Similar to that.
They're going to be saying the same thing about David Icke. Trust me. They're going to be saying the same thing. And then after that, they're going to be saying the same thing about London Real. Because Alex was never, he might have been wrong about some things, but he was right about a lot of things.
I don't know. Some of the things Alex is wrong about were a little critical, but we'll leave it at that. I'm definitely. I'll watch. I'll try. If you can give me a fucking login, I'll watch that, dude. I swear to God, I'll watch it. Because actually, I told you, I watched one of the videos, and you know, apart from the reptilian shit.
Freak. You could use a fake email. You freak.
All right, fine. I'll try a fake email.
All you gotta do is type a bunch of letters.
Yeah, there's no confirmation email or anything.
All right. I'll watch it. I swear to God, I'll watch it.
Oh,
Yeah, I felt kind of selfish because that's why I was calling you, Vin. I was like, so I'm sending a video and you just sent a fucking video, and I'm like asking you to watch mine and I didn't watch yours.
Exactly.
I'm like, hey, but mine's 15 minutes. Yours is like 50.
So about that grid thing.
What did you think?
that was interesting.
First off, I think the guy reminded me of Sal a little bit. But
Oh.
secondly,
That's tough.
That's funny
That's
you say that
that's
because
unfortunate.
I don't.
I talked to Sal about it, and Sal actually doesn't agree with that.
What?
So he's actually not a Sal.
Do you happen to have Sal's Skype? Would you want to have him on to talk about it?
I mean, you'd have to set it up.
Shit.
You know, the reason
I
is
got the robot voice.
Sal. All right, dude. Again?
Oh, now it's gone.
The thing is, if Sal gets on here, it could get into a deep debate.
That'd be great.
You know
I mean,
that.
it doesn't have to happen today. It could happen next week, but
Yeah, just at some point. I think
Yeah.
Sal has maybe some good comments about it.
actually, no, we're not getting him on this week. That gets a little sloppy.
All right.
Mike's
We'll have him
always,
on
next
Mike's
week.
always
Explain.
concerned.
Let me just explain what that was, what we're talking about. And basically, I watched a TED Talk the other day because we've all been consuming YouTube and shit endlessly. And the title of the video was "A Catastrophic Blackout is Coming. Here's How We Can Stop It." And it was by some dude named Samuel Feinberg. No, it's not the pianist. I tried to look him up, but I don't know who this cat is. But anyways, basically the premise of the video is, did you guys like how he kind of did like that whole "we're terrible at listening to warnings" and shit like that?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, so this was uploaded on April 10th, just recently. And the video, he actually recorded it back in 2017. It was a talk that occurred back then. And so it was kind of interesting because he had mentioned pandemics and nuclear warfare and things that are so unlikely to happen. And then here we are in something like that. But he was comparing them and saying how it is far more likely that we could experience some sort of blackout. I don't know why. This video really freaked me out. You guys are seeming a little bit more optimistic about it.
I don't like that. So, is it like what do you think the percentage rate that it's possible that would actually happen is?
I mean, let me show you this real quick because this is actually I pulled up a couple random articles just because I was looking at this, and believe it or not, we had a big solar flare that happened just 2 years ago.
And also, can you walk me through what happened with the AK-47s or whatever?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Dude, look at the date here. This is 2017.
Well, all we see is Skype.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I see myself reversed.
See that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This shit has actually happened, and it happens a little bit more frequently than we think. I think the biggest part, so the one thing about the video is that he had discussed how basically if we were to all lose all forms of power, every form of power that you can think of, electricity just in general, like everything went quiet and went dark, whatever battery percentage you have in your phone is what you're going to have. Like, that's it. And there is no, there's no power source anywhere. So you can't even, there's arguments that you wouldn't be able to pump gas. Like, what happens to water facilities and filtration? Like, what happens to just society in general? And there's two causes that he was really talking about. One of them was terrorism. And then the secondary one, well, terrorism and warfare in general. The second one was the solar flares. And honestly, I'm a little bit more freaked out about the solar flares in the time being. The fact that this is so much likely to occur than a pandemic is what kind of scared the shit out of me.
Well, would a solar flare really knock out the whole world's electric?
Well, so I was just kind of reading this article, and I won't go through it because it was just showing about how this powerful thing had knocked out all of the radio waves. This one here in 1989, March, it knocked out all of the power to Quebec. And this was just a geomagnetic storm, apparently, which creates extreme solar storms. And like I said here, a 9-hour outage of Hydro-Quebec electricity transmission system. And supposedly it just gave a full blackout of the entire area of Quebec. And it's not like a tree fucking fell on, a transformer or something like that. It's just like related to these magnetic fields. So I mean, it's definitely happened before. It's not like it.
I think what's crazy is when you actually think about it, right? Like within a pandemic scenario like we're in, as long as you protect yourself, you can still like essential things can still operate. But when you shut down the electric grid, it's almost as like we rely on it so heavily that every part of society would have to just temporarily figure out how to get past that obstacle. I think the distribution would probably be the toughest because they're all communicating online, like when to deliver things and where to go, GPSs.
Yeah, and he was mentioning in the video that it would just take a couple days, like no more than a week or two for everything to be out of supplies, everything that wherever you get food and everything, like it's automated in a way for you to go to the store, go to the supermarket and pick up bread, eggs, whatever it is. And there's this whole system in place. And what happens when that system loses power and we go hungry or we go thirsty? And it's like, holy shit. And I've actually thought about this before, and which is why I have some equipment here for a massive blizzard here in Minnesota, just because it's like, if we lose power in the middle of the winter and it's like negative freaking 20 below, it's like, yo, you got to have some kind of backup, or obviously you go to a relative's, but what's if it's like real bad, So to answer your question, Mike, the other thing he was talking about, the attack of the unknown people that had attacked that station, he had brought up basically that this has already occurred, that there's already been what they believe some sort of attacks or terrorism. I don't know what they're going to call it. They always get weird about like what to call things. But basically they went in and tried to attack a bunch of transformers and a place that powers a certain part of California. They didn't really apparently they damaged $15 million worth of repairs. To avert a blackout, energy grid officials were forced to reroute power from nearby Silicon Valley-based power plants. So, I mean, really the concept is that this dude is basically saying like, yo, like this is actually way more likely than you think. Like, it's not something where it's just like we need to start thinking about this stuff, I think, as people. Like, we got to start thinking about these issues because nobody ever thought about this pandemic. And if you were to say anything about giving any fucking money to this, I just feel like people would just be like, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, let's give a little bit, but come on, where's this or that, It's just like, it was kind of one of those things that really shocked the shit out of me when I read the whole blackout thing. So Mike, you're saying that you don't really agree? Mike, you there?
Oh, no.
Look at his eyes. What's the worst part though? If he goes down, the recording goes down.
True.
Ouch.
I'm sure it's still recording us though.
You sure?
Unless we're recording on him, on his screen. I mean, unless we're frozen on his screen.
We could be.
Yeah, that blackout is, I don't know. I felt some sort of way afterwards too, but I think just like he was saying, there's almost this part inside me that like disassociates with that idea to protect myself from like panicking. So it's like it keeps me in this state where I feel like safe from it.
Isn't that so interesting how we do that all the time? Like,
yeah.
I feel like people do it so much that they don't even understand. Like how there have been like murderers and people who have done like really oh shit.
Oh no.
I cannot do it again. I can't, man. This will be script to the core.
No, we're not doing it again.